Now let us finish off with going back to the newspapers, just quickly. Well, this newspaper has our brothers. Floyd, if you are still there, I see you are right in the front page of the newspaper here. But you see, there's nothing about President Zuma. And they have some a statement here about some white lawyers who have stolen money. The news that not make the news really here is the fact that NFAS and NSFAS is broke, and the minister responsible, Naledi Pandor, has said they must not open calls for students to apply. No, this fund, this student fund, it is being made broke, and a crisis is created to undermine free education deliberately. 30 billion rand is nothing. I mean, Marcos Joseph just disappeared. 30 billion rand, 20 billion rand. Very easy like that. Apparently, Naledi Pandor, and this is not the news, you have thought that will be in the front page, that the students have no money for free education next year. You'd have thought that would be the big, no, it isn't. But now we tell you the news that not make the news is that free education is under threat. Why they do that? They do that because they want you to go to banks. They want to bring the banks to give you loans so that you can be indebted to banks. That was the original, remember, that was the original plan which President Zuma kicked out. Remember that commission said state must be the guarantor. In other words, a bank must come to you and say, we'll give you a loan. And if you fail to pay the loan, the state will pay the bank. They are destroying the state student fund so that banks can benefit and profit from the poverty of black students. Because once they say NSFAS is no longer there, the banks will say we have student loans which are guaranteed by the state, and they will say that decision must be made because it's a crisis. This is a deliberate crisis created by the government of Ramaphosa to make sure that free education becomes a burden of the poor, and the banks benefit because the Zuma call for free education. Remove the banks can't benefit. It becomes a grant from the people to the students. Now they want the banks to benefit. And remember who's got shares in the banks? Pravin Gordhan. So you see what's up? Pravin, petrol, by Kupur. Their companies are in petrol, so they make money out of that. VAT by Kupula, but they don't Kupula the tax of their companies, corporate tax, so they benefit from that. Now they want to make sure free education ends. Force us to banks where they have also shares, they make a profit out of that. This is very shocking. So, but all this is not in the press. Then you have City Press. Abantu City Press is a newspaper owned by white people, just like the Sunday Times. City Press is owned not just by white people, but by apartheid people. It was created by NASPERS. NASPERS is an apartheid media propaganda house. Anyway, City Press, they say they have treasury drops looting bomb. Look, you all think there's a bomb. I read here they're looking for a bomb. I did not find a grenade. I looked, I did not even find a firecracker. And you want to know that firecracker like Shaga Ku. La bomb, la mangan, la if they are not even those firecrackers. But it is trying to rehash the tired old story of the Guptas and to try to attack people like Machelo Koko and our brother Brian Molefe. It is a dead story. There is nothing here, and it's the second investigation on ESCOM by Pravin Gordhan. They are wasting state resources, these people. Just like they are wasting state resources on the Zuma case. Do you know that Zuma case, by the way, which is 17 years old, which has been dismissed 3 times by courts? They say firstly Zuma was borrowed or given 4 million rand by Shabir Sheikh. Then they say no, maybe it is 500,000. But you know how much they have spent to date on that case? More than 100 million. Chasing maybe sometimes 4,000, for 4 million or 500,000. They are not even sure themselves, but they are putting money. In fact, once this case is dismissed of President Zuma, we must open cases against the NPA, against Billy Dawa, and all those others who have been wasting state resources. For free education, just like they are doing with the son Ututuzani. But there you are. I look for a bomb. I did not find a bomb. I look for a hand grenade. I did not find a grenade. I look for a firecracker. There is no story. It's a dead story here. Then let us finish by this one. Yes. Oh, that one. Okay, now that one, they put the story on that is the Independent. NSFAS disaster looms. Now, that's a good story. The Independent can do better. That's a good story. Because thousands and thousands of our students are facing the real prospects of next year, funding themselves without funding. Already they have a problem of no funding, despite the fact that President Zuma has given us a free education. The story that not make the story, another one, the news that not make the news is the victory of NUMSA against labor brokers. You know that NUMSA took the matter to labor brokers to court. They said labor brokers must stop exploiting workers. If you work for 3 months, they must consider you as permanently employed. And we know that the Constitutional Court has agreed with NUMSA to say, yes, that's right. If you are employed for more than 3 months, you must be considered as a permanently employed. So for that victory, we say hala hala NUMSA. But immediately we say, is it victory NUMSA? Haven't you created immediately with that situation as a condition where now employers will simply employ black people for 2 months, fire them for a month, bring them back for 2 months, fire them for another. So it means there's a word, Pyrrhic victory. It is victory which is not victory. It shows you can't fight white monopoly capital through the courts. Now NUMSA must take them to court and say, no, after 2 months, they must be considered employed. You might win that case after 5 years. Then they will now keep us employed for 1 month. You can't defeat white monopoly capital through the court. We must fight and defeat white monopoly capital through revolutionary program of destroying white monopoly capital. So this 3 months victory, we say yes, it's great victory, but it's an empty victory. Because it is not a victory that makes sure that when you employ somebody, they must immediately have all the full rights. Why not? When you employ somebody now, they must have all the, and you not even ask the question, what is your status in terms of a citizenship? Because they also do that to create xenophobia, to make us fight and compete amongst ourselves. They employ somebody from Zimbabwe, then they say it's an illegal, they pay them less, and they don't protect them. Every worker is protected immediately. As you walk into your workplace, you must have all the rights. NUMSA, isn't that a better proposition? So your victory, we say you did well. But brothers and sisters in NUMSA, unfortunately, we must say it is an empty victory. We need to do much better than that. As we said, this was the 10th episode. We are celebrating. We are out here. And how's that, my brother? We are out here at the car wash, Wiseman's car wash, Kwamashu. And can we please have something to drink to celebrate? This was the 10th episode of Mtama on Sunday live. The news that did not make the news. In next week we'll bring you some more. We have more stuff on Mazoti, and Agliotti. Chief, please give me a beer. Open a beer. Let me drink. Ninja Anigan. Not that one. I don't drink that one. Then do. Drink, open there. Take.
Now,
Thank you.
President just charged.
Yes. Have a drink.
We'll buy more.
We'll buy more. Open there. Let's drink.
We'll buy more.
Oh, it's just a little bit to the people.
Cheers. Can everyone be there in front? Can all those with beers and all
Take
those
a beer
things?
and come and drink.
Kera Shanta,
This is
can we
very,
take a picture, please?
This is nice cold beer from Mashu.
Oh, you stay. Okay, give me.
Cheers.
10. Chef.
Happy Mnutama.
Yes, sir. Happy 10 episode. Yes, happy 10 episode. Thank you very much.